What's up guys, Mr. Scanlon here, and in this video we're going to be building our first C++ program. Now in order to do that we're going to have to download a few things. It doesn't matter what computer you're using, whether it's a Mac at school, a tablet, a MacBook Pro, or a Windows laptop. You're going to have to install a certain IDE to begin coding for this lesson. If you're using Windows you can continue watching this video, but if you're using a Mac, look at the video below this one. So if you're on a Windows, you're going to want to go to Google and you're going to want to type in Visual Studio. And just go to this link here. Now, Visual Studio is what's known as an IDE. An IDE is an interactive development environment. It's something that's designed to make coding easier by helping you type in code properly and basically give you some autofill on certain aspects of it. And then it also helps you figure out errors whenever you type something in wrong. Basically, you need one of these in order to do any kind of coding nowadays. Now, to start, you're going to have to go to this Visual Studio right here where it says Download Community 2015. You don't want either of these. You don't want the Team Services one, and you definitely don't want Visual Studio Code. This is something for mostly HTML and CSS. We're doing C++. You're going to want to get this one. So you just click on this link and it's going to give you a download, and basically you just go ahead and you know, do the download and go through all the steps and make sure you have everything installed. It's going to be a very big download, and if you are downloading it, you're probably not going to be able to do the rest of this video right away. So, you know, download it and then come back to this video when you're done. It's going to be about 13 gigabytes. So once you're done, you can go ahead and open up Visual Studio. And to begin, you're going to want to go to File, New, Project, and this is going to generate a new project folder for you. So it's going to bring up this this window here, and you're going to want to go to Visual C++. Make sure when you're installing it that you have that in there. If you didn't get it the first time, you can always go back and I can help you with that. But so go to Visual C++, go to General, go to Empty Project, and then you can just name this whatever you want. I'm going to leave it as Project 24 because it really doesn't matter. And then just hit OK. And basically, as I said before, this IDE is essentially a compiler. It has compiling methods in it that it takes your high-level C++ code and turns it into machine code for the computer to read and create a program later on. So once you're at this point, you're not going to have anything in front of you, hopefully, and you're going to want to go to like your Solution Explorer here, look at the Project 24, and then go to the source files here, and you're just going to want to right-click this and hit Add, and then New Item. I promise as time goes on, this will become a lot easier to do. When you're first starting out, it seems like a lot of steps to create like just a file to begin coding, but it's going to be a lot easier later on. And since we're going to be doing C++, we're going to want a C++ file. Again, the name doesn't really matter at all. Source.cpp is more than fine. And then you just hit Add. Alright, so now we just added a C++ file to our project. This is where we can start coding right here. So, we got the C++ file here that we just created, and currently it's got nothing in it. So let's start putting some stuff in. So to start, you're going to want to do #include IOStream, okay? And make sure that's exact, that you can't have any errors, and basically anything we write from now on. So this #include IOStream, what it's doing is it's saying, we just downloaded all of those C++ files when we first got Visual Studio. And in all those files, it's basically like having an entire library of books of all just code knowledge, okay? And what IOStream is doing when we say #include IOStream, it's saying, alright, we want C++ to go out, we want the compiler for C++ to go out into that library and pick out the IOStream book out of it, okay? So that way we can have all of the IOStream knowledge. Now, you don't know what IOStream is really yet, but IOStream is basically the foundation of C++. So we want to know the foundation of C++. That's all it's really saying. And then underneath that, you want to say using namespace standard, STD for standard. And again, it's not something you're supposed to understand yet. It's just some like early boilerplate code that you just put at the beginning. But using namespace standard is telling the computer that we're using a namespace that's standard. And I'll definitely go into that later on because obviously that doesn't really make any sense right now. The next thing we want to do is we want to make our first function, okay? Every program is going to have a function to start out. And we just write int, which stands for integer, main, put parentheses here. And you're going to want to put these like little curly braces next to like the P and the backward slash, and then just space those out. And then inside here, since we're doing our first program, we're going to do our Hello Comrade program, because communism. And to do that, you just say C out, brace, brace, hello, comrade, in quotations, some more braces, and then an end with an L, okay, and then a semicolon. Now, what this is saying here is C out is basically console output. You're saying, all right, computer, you're the console. I want you to output this to the screen, okay? And then inside these are basically just space modifiers. It's telling the C++ to break up the code. And then inside here, these quotation marks, this is what you want to be outputted to the screen. So you're saying C out, so console output this stuff inside the quotation marks right here. And then you have another couple of braces, and then this endl. And what endl is doing is just saying end the line. And I'll explain that in a second. And then underneath this, you just want to write system with quotes, and then capital pause with a semicolon there, and then return 0. Now this system pause is something that if you're using a Mac you wouldn't put in here. It's basically just to freeze the screen. I'll show you what that means in a second. And then this return 0 is something that every function typically has at the end. You're just basically saying we're done here. We don't want to return anything back to any other code, mostly because we don't have any other code. So we just want to return 0 or null, and we just want the computer to shut down the program at that point. All right, so this is your first C++ program right here. This is the code that runs your first C++ program. In order to run it, you just go up to this thing right here where it says local Windows debugger, and just hit it. It's going to say this is out of date. Do you want to build it? Yes. You just always say yes. It doesn't. This is just something that's comes in between you and your program basically. So yes. All right. So here it is. Here's our first program. As we can see, we see Hello Comrade here, which is exactly what we had up here. And then it says press any key to continue. So basically, when I said like system pause, just something that Windows had, if we didn't have this in here, and I'll show it to you actually, what it does. So I just hit enter, that shuts down. If I take the system pause out, and then I rerun it, you'll see it like came on the screen for a second and then went away real quick. That's basically just because system pause is, it just keeps it on the screen until you want to like press any key to continue. You can use that like throughout your code. It's just a little thing that Windows has built in. And then as soon as we did hit enter or whatever, it returned 0. So it ended the program at that point. All right, so that's your first C++ program. Might be exciting to some, might not be exciting to others. But I really suggest to stick with it. We're going to have a lot of fun in the coming projects here. And, maybe play around with this right now and just see what else you can get to be outputted into the console.